2-3 weeks away from the MLB All-Star game, the best All-Star game in sports, as well as the best competition being the home run derby. So a lot to be excited for as the summer approaches and baseball begins to kick into high gear.
That was time.
Here we go.
We are up. This is probably, what are we at, episode 71 of the Constant Sports podcast / show. Longtime guest, Mr. Salvatore Caprita, by way of the Denver Broncos Football Club, Sports Thread,
Yes.
Arizona Cardinals Football Club, Sun Devils Athletics, original Director of Content Development at Constant Sports. Recently, Operations Coordinator, now Account Manager at TPG in the eastern part of the United States. Mr. Caprita, how'd we do?
Did well. That's a great memory, listing off the long history in this industry that I certainly have. Excited to be on here, talk sports industry, and chop it up with you. How you doing?
Doing good. And I think we'll just start off with, I would say it was pretty breaking news a few days ago with the Lakers selling for the $10 billion mark. As someone as someone interested in the investment, not just sports, but investment kind of structure and industry as yourself, what are we thinking about sports as an asset class? The Lakers selling for $10 billion.
Yeah, no, I thought honestly it's a matter of time. It's very fascinating how the sports ownership world has developed in not only recent years, but just in general. As back in 50s, 60s, 40s even, talking 1900s, if you will, you're talking just family-owned business is what these were. A lot of these sport teams
Packers,
were purchased up.
What is the Bears?
The Bears, the Cardinals, these are
Colts.
families that bought these for whatever, very, very cheap on the dollar, and now they have become full entity businesses. This is not just a family-owned operation. This is high-level businesses, and that's what you're seeing now. And like you said, the word, not even businesses now, the word that should be used when you talk about sport franchises is investments, because that's what are. And only a select few now have the ability to purchase a sport team. It's now groups of people coming together and putting money together. So seeing the Buss family end up selling the Lakers was only a matter of time. That $10 billion mark, obviously the Walton family purchasing the Broncos a few years back for a 6.8, I believe, billion. You may have to fact check me around that, but that's just what it is nowadays. It's great to see.
Yeah, the increase in, I guess, just the investment capital as a whole. You see like Redbird Capital like throwing their name in the hat. You see all these, I guess, just normal kind of investment firms, that are now saying, okay, let's get into sports, especially with athletes, right? You got like J.J. Watt with Burnley. You got all these athletes trying to get into clubs and things like that.
Yes, and I just then got my computer up here, did that quick search. Broncos sold for $4.6 billion. So let me fact check myself there. But
what are they at now?
Their value?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Up a little bit.
Let's see. Yeah. I was just going to follow up on your point being so on top of just being the owner of that team or in general, it usually was private dollars and everything like that. Now they're becoming like public entities. Like, do you just want to buy share in it? We just want to invest in it. And it's from that point of owning the team, but then also there's like sport apps that are created just for investing not only in player performance, but also team performance as well. So very fascinating stuff. Obviously, the Atlanta Braves went public a few years back as well. So that's a stock. That's an actual stock that people can buy and everything like that. So the sports world is rapidly changing, and there's a bright future ahead.
No question. And then speaking to the rapidly changing, we have the college landscape, which I think their fiscal year ends in a few days, right?
That's correct. Yep.
It's another kind of ushering into a new era. With,
absolutely.
It's like nothing we've ever seen before. And speaking on the investment side of it, we've talked about this before, but Kentucky kind of forming their own LLC, but then you have all these other schools who was it Boise State? Someone else was like, oh hey, let's infuse some capital into this puppy and let's get this thing to
Correct.
grow. And
Hmm.
it makes me wonder if you could have, we're talking these NFL teams getting minority stakes. If you get 10 boosters that are like, I want 15% of the University of Texas athletic, whatever it is, football, basketball, women's softball,
Right.
the whole deal.
Uh-huh.
Could be interesting.
You're absolutely right on it, and that's exactly obviously with the settlement of the House versus Grant case. It's clear that college athletics is becoming professional. That's the whole move. Now that we have NIL, players getting paid, etc., that's going to start to take real form with the universities having the ability to directly pay the athletes. So you see that transition. But just like you're saying, so universities have always, the truth be told, university athletic departments has always been in a deficit. There's really no money there. It's really football and men's basketball that fund the whole university athletic departments. So now we have to pay players on top of the deficit that we already have. Like that don't correlate. And so to the point, full circle around to your point, the money's got to be coming from somewhere, and that is going to be from investment.
When it coming in, and then as a world, you're well versed in the sponsorship world.
Mm-hmm.
What are we thinking? What are the brands saying? What are you seeing has boots on the ground in the sports sponsorship world?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think the landscape is there's excitement. I think they're seeing a lot of value in it. I know a lot of people are very interested in the media play, the impressions via the internet, whether it's social media, whether it's from streaming networks, whether it's from paid advertisements digitally. There's a lot of excitement there. But when you're talking sports sponsorship at a whole right now, there's a lot of talk and buzz about the World Cup. I just went to a Cincinnati Reds game this week, and they did a FIFA promotion, or excuse me, not FIFA, a World Cup promotion. Yeah, because they had a game here, and they brought one of the soccer team's mascot as well as a coach or player rep for that team, and did a promotion at the Reds game. So you can already see the World Cup generating buzz, and the sponsorship behind that at a global level is going to be really interesting. Not only keep that on your eye, but also just soccer in general, the growth of it here in America, as well as the sponsorship and dollars behind soccer is going to be increasing, given that the global stage is going to get a limelight here in 2026.
Yeah, it's going to be something. As I feel like that's what was that? When was it? When was it been here recently? Do you know the World Cup? It was like the '90s or something, wasn't it?
Let's see. I got the computer up. Let's Joe Rogan this podcast.
Because I feel like we don't see that. Obviously, you got like the world or the the Olympics come to town, but that's
94.
Everyone's around. 94. Yeah, it's up
94.
It's
So
like
what is
Georgia
that?
Somewhere, but
30, 26.
32
Yeah. Yeah, that's
30.
a hike.
It's Then I was just gonna ask about kind of the high school sponsorships, right? Which is your bread and butter, and I think even high school, like it's trickling down to high school, right? They're trying to figure out, how do we get some coin, right? You get the local chiropractor, you get the local dentist, you pop some banners up. Let's get some money in here,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The high school space is exactly what I'm in, high school athletics. And yeah, the focus there is grassroots marketing. We're diving into the local play, as well as the truth is we're developing into a national reach as well, given the fact that specifically for my company, we have a large portion of the high school state associations partnered with. So we have the ability to represent them and their corporate partnerships. So we are a national play as well. But with that being said, there's a lot of excitement in the fact with high school athletic sponsorships, we have the ability to target a whole family directly. You're talking the student athletes, you're talking the parents, you're talking the grandparents, you're talking the siblings, you're talking a whole family being able to market and get branding in front of we can present. And you don't see that a lot because you're talking especially NBA or NFL or college football. It's a select market that watch that. Majority of men. Obviously, there's been initiatives to get more women to view and support those sports, but in general, it's a specific target market that those sport teams have the reach for. We're here in the high school space, we can target a whole family, so it's very valuable to brands at that level, and specifically, like we've talked about, the local grassroots marketing that we do here.
Well, and we could speak about nationally, right, with a high school
Right.
and a whole, but obviously, local to you, you have, these big, like Bosco and Modern Day, and then you got the
Right.
IMGs of the world who are probably like low-level Division II school, like if you think about it, right,
At this
colleges.
point, right.
At this point, like you got national media right deals being done and things like that, which is kind of interesting to think. You have your Division One, right? Then you got your FCS, Division Two, Division Three, NAIA. What are your thoughts on? I think we've talked about this in the past, but relegation
Yes.
in college football, college basketball
Yeah.
specifically. Are we thinking? What are we capping it at? Let's say we're commissioner. We're the commissioners of college football right now. I like the model of the relegation, and you
I do
cap
too.
it. Right. To
What would be your
45,
cap?
whatever it is.
45, 50?
That's what
Yeah.
I think so. I think it'd have to be because you have the SEC has 16 teams or something like that.
I think it's 18 now.
Big 18.
I think it's
there's already
18 and
you're almost
18.
at 20 just
There's
from
32.
one conference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need to pop in a few there. You're gonna have Boise
Yeah.
State from the other conferences. So I think like 45, 50.
What if you
and
did
then
64?
Pop in relegation.
What if you did 64, like the March Madness tournament, Sweet 16? And then from there, isn't there like a total of 128 schools? So if you do half of them are in the
something like
big
that.
league, and then you split it up to two different ones, and just like you said, based on play, will determine if you're going to stay at the top level or you're going back down.
Right. I think it's a great idea. I think the European soccer model has it nailed.
No, I totally agree. Unfortunately, with the way it's currently structured and basically the powers of collegiate sports being the Big Ten and the SEC, I think what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a merger between those two, and the high-level college athletics are going to be played in between those two conferences and those two those teams, and then those other conferences will be low-hanging fruit, and they'll probably make their own league, but it'll be somewhere for college athletics, you're going to a Big Ten or you're going to an SEC school, and then outside of that, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, I either think you make everyone go back to your original conferences.
Right.
SC, UCLA, you get on back to the West Coast.
Yeah.
You do a geographical, similar to the NFL, which is, you could make the case where they could be a little bit more geographical with some teams and whatnot. But you get your West, Northwest, South, Southwest, Midwest. I like that kind of concept too. You can make it 10, 12 teams and build it out.
I agree, but here's the problem, Connor. The media deals are already set.
Yeah.
Well, of course, leadership, but the media deals are already set. So you think the Big Ten and the SEC are going to give up that money? And vice versa.
No, this is gonna have to be 2032 whenever these deals end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's a fair point. Like through the media deals, it's going to be as is because say for the Big Ten,
They're never giving that up.
Yeah, that's the problem. And now that they include the regional thing makes total sense to me, but they signed that media deal with USC and UCLA in mind for the Big Ten, so they can't give up USC. Too big of a TV draw.
That's true. 6 and 6 is too big of a media draw. 7 to 5.
That's what you're telling me. At Penn State, at Ohio State, that gets you fired.
Is speaking of the Nittany Lions and
Yes.
Ohio State in college football.
Yes.
Do you have are we already thinking about the season coming up? Do we have a top five prediction or anything yet? You feeling anything yet?
I wouldn't say a prediction. I'm just excited for it. I'll tell you, there's a lot of momentum. I think Texas and Penn State are probably the two best teams in the nation. Ohio State's got a young quarterback, so depending on how he plays will determine how they'll be. I don't know about Alabama. I'm nervous. I'm trying to think here.
Is the Julian Sayin kid, is that
Yes.
the quarterback for Ohio State?
That's the quarterback I'm talking about.
The young man's from the old
Yes.
backyard, from
I was
Carlsbad,
gonna say,
California. There,
You're very
represent.
familiar.
Shout out.
Very, very familiar with him.
Shout
Yeah.
out. Of course. He's shout out to Jose Mueller, quarterback coach down here, La Costa Canyon alum.
Here we
Dumbass.
go.
Anyways, yeah, of course. Got to shout out the fellas anytime
Yes.
I can.
Of course.
With the, I guess, what is that, 70, what is it, 70 some odd days away, college football season?
Yes, just about. I can't wait.
And then we got the NFL season right around the corner. You see the trailer for Quarterback 2, or whatever that show's called on Netflix?
I did see that. So didn't we already see Kirk Cousins? I don't know how he got back on the show.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins
got to double
somehow,
up.
well,
He's like a resident.
So whoever his agent is has made him a jagillion dollars.
Heck of a deal.
A great quarterback, not when it matters, but dude's
Yes.
made an obscene amount of coin.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
we're making a reappearance on Quarterback 2. Mr.
Correct.
Cole's cash himself.
Well, it's always been the debate, especially just talking about that specifically, debate of what's the best job in professional sports. I mean, you really can't really beat the backup quarterback based on the pay scale. And the likelihood of you getting in, depending on your starter, obviously, but and all you got to do is have a 3-game run. You play lights out for 3 games. Oh my gosh, you're getting paid for years.
Well, you have Kirk Cousins at a career earnings of $294 million.
Yeah, that'll do. Very impressive.
But
I'm trying to think.
The best quarterback, no shade, obviously, but I feel like Chase Daniels has come out and said,
Yes.
It's a 13-year career, $42 million.
And he did not have to do much.
Other than that, what's your other position or other sport you'd play at a high level to be a backup?
That's what I'm trying to think.
I feel like golf caddy comes up a lot, but that's a lot of work.
That's hard work. That's
And
4
that's
straight
top-tier
days,
pressure.
all day, carrying that. And just like you said, people don't realize the caddy is expected to know the ins and out of the top rigorous courses in the nation. Like, that's no
The
joke.
wind, the blades, the grass, the club.
You got to know how to play
How
golf.
the golfer's actually hitting, yeah.
Yeah. Then the psyche of your golfer, where to push the buttons, where not to, because, that'd be very difficult. You tell a guy you're joking with him or whatever, and you get him off his groove. That's the last time you're on his bag for his career. Yeah, I know.
When I think that's not a bad one, but yeah, you're traveling obviously every weekend.
I was gonna say they say the long snapper's a good one too because you can't get hit.
True.
Backup quarterback. If you do get in, there's a chance you get in some trouble.
I feel like the long snapper though is you have one job. Like the backup quarterback, you can watch film, you can break things up, you're calling plays. You could mess up and no one's gonna know.
Long
You're a
snapper.
long snapper, and you have a bad snap everywhere to get this guy out of here.
Yes, true.
Like you can't, even if it's raining, snowing, it doesn't matter. This snap better be chest high. Get it
Right.
off.
Yeah, no, it's not an easy job. I was also thinking too, based on pay as well. 6-man in basketball, you have the ability. You're on the starting lineup. You get weight. Boop. Your name gets called. You come up. You do whatever, and then you're good. Like the starters are gonna get blamed for everything. You just come in and score 20 points or whatever, score your buckets, and you're praised.
Yeah, it's a good. Sports is a good world. Is there, I guess you have, NIL general managers are kind of coming to be a lot of these new jobs in sports sponsorships. We talked about growing big.
Yes.
I talked to a guy the other day. NIL transfer portal agent. That's kind of becoming big in the sports space.
Crazy.
Which I thought these jobs are kind of popping up.
Yes, and how it's going to develop and how it'll look, it will be over time. I will say the transfer portal agent, I think that'll be gone. That's something that was needed in a time when there was no clarity because of how everything's been happening with the NCAA. But I think now that case is settled and the structure will begin to develop for college athletics, the transfer portal, I think, is going to start to dry up. What I mean, at some point, there will be contracts. And these kids won't be able to dance around and bounce year to year, 6 months to month. Like, it'll be, you sign up, you're going to get paid this, and you're going to be here, and you're going to fulfill that contract. That's what it's going to come down to.
I like the one transfer, and then make one transfer portal window. Because right now you have it at the end of the year, and you have it in the spring.
Which is the craziest
thing. So in theory, you could be in 3 schools in almost one calendar year.
And what's sad is there are kids that do that. There's stories that happen, yeah. Kid transfers, stays there, waits till the spring, transfers again, and it's like, whoa, so you played the season here, you transferred, started to go to school here, but then decided to transfer before the next season even starts, and you're at a different school. Like, mind-boggling how that's allowed.
It's a lot of influx, and everyone always. I get both sides of the argument where they say like, oh, coaches leave too, but not as frequently.
Not like
right?
that.
I mean, yeah, I mean you're not having a coach at 3 spots in 2 years unless they're an assistant or something, but a head coach.
Yes.
But I do think with these payments coming from the revenue sharing, they're going to have to kind of put in these contracts, like you said, if you will, where you have to be in. I've seen like even collective contracts, like you have to be in XYZ zip code to get these payments.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
If you're not in that zip code, you're not getting payments.
You're not getting paid. Yeah. I'm not going to pay you for A, not fulfilling a contract, but B, for playing 2 games. You don't like the coach, he benched you, so then you transfer, and then you expect me to pay you because why? You didn't play a season. You didn't fulfill. I mean, wait till this stuff it'll be performance based, and these kids will think they're getting something, and then let me give you an example. So school gives a kid 2 years, $2 million, whatever, right out of high school. Boop, he comes, he busts out or he breaks his leg, gets injured, doesn't live up to that. Well, and they cut him after a year. And then he's done on the streets. Then he's got to pay for his own college. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Like, instead of having that full ride, having that scholarship, and that's another thing, too. Like, I wonder if they're still going to give kids full rides or if they're going to make them pay for their college now. Some of these kids getting millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think that's hard. I think they increased in football, I think it came down a little bit, but the other sports like baseball and others, it went from like 11 to 34 or something like that.
Right.
As far as full-time scholarships.
Yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts on this too, because I've seen a couple schools. I think South Carolina just did it. I love the good added into normal student tuition. Yeah, we're going to surcharge you $300 to your student fees. Just the normal student who knows? I mean, everyone comes from different backgrounds, but there's most college kids are broke. We're going to charge you an extra $300 so we can have an athletics program. That's where we're getting the money now? This has got to be a joke, dude. This is crazy. Well, this world is crazy.
I was trying to look at how many... let's see. So they had a class of 7,200, $2.1 million just from the freshman class.
And it works. South Carolina. Yeah, that's the reason they're doing it. But
you allege they almost have $6 million of new income.
Yes, untapped. Crazy. Oh, yeah. There's a reason they're doing it, but it's just still, it's sad. It's like, man, that's crazy.
I do think you need to add in, like, if it's like an athletic surcharge, like I get seats, I get...
Yo, yeah. You better
shirt,
get some.
I get, yeah. You can't just be adding a surcharge, and I got to pay for like a student game pass or whatever those things are.
Because I know they did that at us at Arizona State. Now, granted, it wasn't a guarantee, but there was allotment of free student tickets. All you had to do was go in there and claim it. Now it's an allotment, and you may not get them or vice versa.
First come, first serve.
Yeah, but at least there's a guarantee for show up to the athletic events, AYZ free stuff. Well, not free because you paid it and you're surcharged, but at least you got something for that charge.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm alluding to. Like, we need to be getting things in return, or else you're going to have you're going to be hard-pressed to be convincing people they're paying X,
Right.
This money, not getting anything. It's like the donors who are donating all these monies to collectives, not getting anything back. They're kind of saying, hey, now, where's my ROI on this,
Right, yeah. No, and I've talked to you about this as well. I just think with how everything's going, specifically in college athletics and just in sports in general, sponsorships and partnerships for sport teams is at an all-time high. Like, the need for it is huge. And I know there's a lot of brands that want to get connected, and it's a great marketing tool, but just for the teams themselves and athletic universities, etc., it's ultra critical and an all-time high to be able to help offset that cost and offset paying student athletes and NIL, and they can do it through sponsorships. And that's what's so great about it, and that's why specifically in that industry I'm so excited for. I can see the growth. It's going to expand exponentially, and it's ultra critical to the development of athletics in this country.
It's what a time to be alive. That's to say the least. And speaking of a time to be alive, big fight card this weekend for all the UFC fans out there.
Here we go.
International Fight Week, UFC 317.
I heard.
I know we got a lot of fans on here that listen that are UFC fans. Obviously, myself and you, big fans here.
Yes, yes.
We have Mr. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title bout. Initial thoughts?
I think we know who wins that. Who wins that? You think it's a toss-up?
Wins.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I do too.
No.
I'm a fan of Charles Oliveira. I think what he did, his run was well for what kind of fighter he is. He's not the flashiest. He's hard work, gets it done. He'll get on your back, choke you out. That's how he fights. That's his brand. And he's a top-class, world-class fighter. But
no question.
The other guy, they don't make him like him. That is a different
Matador?
breed. That's a monster. And I fully anticipate him back to the top.
I do. I don't know what the odds are. They're not on the website yet, but I like Topuria there. Then you have Pantoja versus Kaikara France for the flyweight title bout. You have Pantoja as a minus 265 favorite, decently high. Then the next fight, Neil Dariush and Renato Money Moicano. That's a little closer fight. But Neil Dariush is actually the underdog there. So if I was a betting man,
I like him.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think I might take the money on that one.
Yeah, I'd take him. Let's see who else we got. Is the
Topuria? So what do you think his next move is after this fight, win or lose? I think win. We obviously want to see Mr. Makhachev come back down.
Yes, Makhachev versus him. Does he go up?
I don't think you would have the frame to go up to 75.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what they do. Does he already jumped up? Or no?
He was at 45. Now he's going to 55.
Now he's going to 55. So okay. Yeah, we have to see Makhachev come down, fight him.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got this. I was looking at any of the prelims if anything jumped out.
I don't know too many of the people on the prelims.
I don't either.
I know Terrence McKinney. I've seen him before.
I was going to say, you have?
Nothing.
He pretty good?
Yeah.
16-7.
Yeah, he knocked somebody out a few months ago, I saw. But that should be a good one. UFC's, and what is the Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier fight? I feel like that's probably the next.
That's a big one. Yeah, it is. Well, you saw the news this week.
What do you got for me?
Are you kidding me? John Jones retired. Do you believe that for a second?
I don't know. Well, then, I mean, he got in these alleged car crash with a female.
We did.
I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I see. No, I did not.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that guy. We've heard Dr. Joe Rogan talk about him before.
Correct.
That there's certain individuals, as John Jones, this isn't your average human, right? These guys are on a different planet. They don't think like normal humans. Like they're
Correct.
conquerors.
Yes.
And I feel like he's fighting some demons. He's got quite the past. Great fighter. In theory, never lost except for the one NC where he was elbowing a guy to death, essentially via the 12-6.
12-6. That's an illegal move, but now legal in it, California? Illegal.
Yeah,
so one of the states. One of the states. It may not have been California. One of the states did call it a legal move now, which is pretty crazy. I mean, that's a 6-12, man. Boom, right on the skull. That's how you split someone's forehead.
How's your mother? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're not.
How's your mother?
You're not seeing straight.
No, you're not.
So then that gives Mr. Tom Aspinall kind of the vacated heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
Since they would have fought for it.
Exactly, and I do appreciate his take on it. He talked about. Well, the truth is, the guy John Jones better than me at everything, but I'm younger, I'm bigger. Let's take it. Let's go. And there was a chance he could beat him. There was a chance he could beat him. John Jones is more talented. John Jones is the better fighter, but anytime you hop in that octagon, nothing's guaranteed.
And that's John Jones great. Himself, if he finds himself in some danger, we're gonna, a few weaves straight for a single double, take you to the ground.
Yep.
Drag you out to the deep waters, and that's where I would have liked to see Mr. Aspinall, fight him.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna say too. His another move that he likes to do is he likes to take his foot and put it directly on your kneecap.
Yep.
Slow you down.
Hyperextend the knee. Oh, yeah.
Yep. You think you're gonna take a step forward? Try to take a step forward with
Sidekick.
with your kneecap at the back of your knee. That's very difficult to do.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's going to be a hard way to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Thiago Santos. CL, ACL,
Yes.
whatever CLs is in your knee, all of them.
All of them down.
Yeah,
Trying to step
in
forward.
one fight.
Yeah. That's funny.
So that's kind of the UFC. What is it? What do we got? The MLB? Oh, yeah. El Nino Tatis. What do you think about the BLA? Yeah, the money advancement, and then you get 10% on the back end.
Yeah. So give me a short story of it. I'll tell you what I know. From when I was read, it's an entity, a group that helps young players as they get ready to go make their way to the pros. Basically, essentially, this entity fronted him $2 million for the idea that they'll get 10% of future earnings. So that all occurred. Yet Tatis is saying, I know I don't have to pay you that?
Yeah, that's kind of the gist of from what I've seen. And
I don't know how that works.
yeah, so I think he signed it, from what I read, he was 17, which is interesting because you're not an adult yet. So I would assume his dad, who was a major leaguer, had to sign it, or someone in his camp helped him sign this document, I would assume.
Right.
The part that's, and from what I read, that they advance a ton of, like, they give these advances to a ton of players. It's basically buying a stock, right? You're hoping one of these players hits gold. Like Tatis,
Correct.
now you're making $34 million on your $2 million investment.
That's correct.
So that's obviously a good return. I think it should be, I mean, it's a contract, right? So I don't know how he's going to weasel his way out of this one, but I would think you kind of make it so you pay back your original $2 million that was advanced to you, right? I think that would make more sense.
Well, there's got to
Plus,
be
you can
interest
have
on
some
it.
sort of kicker in it. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's what I'm saying. There's a kicker on the back end, some sort of, you got your interest payments, or, it's like I don't know. I just think you have to, if you're Tatis in his camp, you have to know, like, that's in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and for sure. And at that point, $2 million is $2 million. Like, you don't know if he's going to make it to the league or not. Okay. So what's he trying to say with all this legality behind it? That, like, he was not at a stage where he was able to make that decision. Like, he wasn't authorized to make that signature because he was a minor, and that contract should be voided.
It was his first big contract, or his first MLB contract.
Okay, so they got the first one. They shouldn't get any of this money on the extension. Right.
Right. So now he's like, I already made it. You already got your money and my contract, and now this is. And see, this is why I start to kind of agree with Tatis. Like, I don't think it should be forever.
Well, if it's not laid out in the contract, that's what it is.
No,
future earnings as a ball player. He should have had that written out.
That's what I'm saying. His camp, like, if you're doing these deals, like, you got to know, future is from now until forever.
Any chance you get money from being a ball player, like from that the Padres are paying him. Yeah, like they shouldn't get any of his sponsorship money or anything that he makes from his business ventures or anything like that. But they're probably getting any dollar he gets from the Padres, they're getting 10% of, and you got to put in there just contract one. Because, I mean, contract one was probably still $100 million or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that company still would double their money and call it good.
Yeah, and that's where I think it obviously gets not shady, but dicey when you're talking to a 17-year-old and trying to figure that out. But like I said, he had his lawyers in camp, and I think this company uses like third-party entity to read over these contracts, and so it's not like shady or sketchy. But what I thought would be interesting is what if you take this business model to coaches? You go find college coaches who are GAs who, getting whatever it is, 10, 15 grand to coach. They got a side job. You advance them. Then the model is interesting. If you think, I mean, it is interesting. You're basically playing the stock market with coaches.
Yeah. That is an interesting one, especially when you're talking at the collegiate level and coaching in general. The money is outside of the top dogs, and it's getting better because the money's getting facilitated in there. But GA positions and assistant coaches are not getting paid much. So they really could use that money, and that could be a big benefit. And you give money to Dan Lanning when he's at Alabama, Nick Saban, and then you're getting 2% of what he's making now. That's not too shabby.
Just putting it out
It's a
there.
heck. It's a heck of a model.
Any listeners trying to get interested and trying to dive into that world, yeah, but you know where to find me. I think it is something to look into.
But it is. But again, and all it takes is one. But the truth of someone actually getting to the top is far and few.
Well, you got if you're talking just Big Ten and SEC schools, you got 36 coach. There's 36 head coaches right there.
Right.
One of them.
Yeah, but it's all relationship based and
of course
connections.
You gotta go be friends with Jimmy Sexton, and then we'll go.
Yeah. Like I don't think the Dan Lanning, the Kalen DeBoer stories are as prevalent as I use example just because it's one off the top of my head. And I think he's a heck of a coach because he is. Kyle Shanahan. Well, Mike Shanahan was I think he's a 3-time Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah.
One with the 49ers, 2 with the Denver Broncos. Like, well, when your dad's the coach, like...
You're saying to take this business model to the NFL?
Well, I'm saying more the fact that...
It's relationships?
It's relationships. His dad was an NFL coach. That's how he became an NFL coach. So, like, yeah, the principles still work, but Kyle Shanahan don't need our money when he's a kid.
That's what you're saying.
Versus Kalen DeBoer knows nobody, was coaching in who knows what Montana, I believe, or North Dakota. All of a sudden, he's the leader of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Like, that guy could have used our money, but I mean, I just don't think that story happens as much as the connection between, oh, this guy was Nick Saban's grandkid. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Kind of a on your toes type of question, but if there was a company, business, brand, let's say you had $10 million, where are you putting that in the sports world?
Right now, what do you mean?
You take it, you can put it into a sports business, you could put it into a school, you could put it into a technology, you could put it into a league. Where are you putting your $10 million?
That's a great question. I'm probably a little late on the game, but the truth is it'd be sports technology, obviously. The Zebra technology from the NFL is using right now with how they track metrics and track data it's insane. I think it'll honestly only continue, so I still think you can't go wrong with sports statistics. That Sports Trada is another company helping with statistics in the industry. I would say that's a safe bet. I really do.
If they would allow it, I would put my $10 million into the Forums Kentucky LLC, just out of curiosity.
Right.
See where it takes me.
Well, that's true too. And that was following up on that point. My next bet would be the Blue Bloods. You can't go wrong putting your money in the Kentucky Wildcats men's basketball team, the Lakers, the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Knicks. Because it don't matter if the team goes under 500 or goes 500, they're still making money. They're still printing money because they're just so many people are fans of those brands. So that was going to be my next point is you can't go wrong putting your money in the Blue Bloods because they're always going to attract attention and dialogue, and they're always going to make money.
Let's see what else we got on tap. You got anything else you want to chat about while we're on here?
No, I think we bounced around, gave the audience a lot to digest on this one. I mean, just right off the cuff, boop, boop, boop. There's really nothing I can think of at the moment. Like I said, we're rolling into one of the good times of the sports year. Obviously, with football being gone, it's really tough. Just ended the NBA season, but that doesn't mean we're for lost as precisely, what are we, 2-3 weeks away from the MLB All-Star Game, the best All-Star Game in sports, as well as the best competition being the Home Run Derby. So a lot to be excited for as the summer approaches and baseball begins to kick into high gear.
Well said. And so that was your sort of NFL, NBA, MLB golf. I don't know if they have an All-Star game, but MLB is the best professional All-Star game. NHL?
It's not even close. NHL is
MLB.
good, but it's MLB.
I agree too, but I think it's because it's the closest you get to the game.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Football,
no doubt
obviously,
about
you're
it.
not going to have people, chop
That
blocking and cutting off angles.
Yeah, the NFL is making it more of an event versus the game itself. The NBA is lost, and they'll be lost for a while until they figure it out. The NHL is on something with doing the international play on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, America, Canada, etc. As they get that competition and that going, that could be really interesting format for their All-Star game as well. But I just think AL, NL, they kept the authenticity of the game. It'll never beat, as well as the time frame being so close to July 4th and in July. I mean, it'll always be the best.
Agreed. I agree there. And then after that, yeah, postseason's right around the corner from there. Once you hit August, that's when baseball starts. You play 182 games, and all of a sudden August it comes down to those last 30 or so.
Yeah, exactly. I was telling a buddy the other day he don't like this, but I don't tune in until the All-Star game. That's when it's like, okay, now baseball matters. Everything prior to the All-Star game is all for fun, getting loose, trying to figure it out, trying to stay healthy. If you're hurt, trying to get healthy. Then there'll be a couple trades here at the All-Star break. And then once those games start off, it's go time. And that's when it really matters. So that's when the MLB baseball has my attention.
All right. I can see where
you
you're
don't
coming
concur.
from.
You don't concur. Yeah.
The problem is the Padres have sucked on my life, and we're finally starting to win. We're getting used to winning, so I gotta tune in now.
Getting used to winning. I mean, you beat the Dodgers in the postseason. That's about it.
No, yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
we got used to it. We got a taste. Now we're trying to get a little bit, blow
Now
them
you
out.
want to take the next step.
As you've seen, the Dodgers are playing cheap ball. They're trying to hit Fernando Tatis every time he comes up to the plate, and then
Yeah.
they're taking the moral high ground when we hit one of their players. Okay,
Yeah.
stop that.
You got anything to say to Dalton? While we're on this, Dalton being
I was. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just
All I
for the
have is-
audience. Oh, go for it.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say Dalton being a resident, former guest on the podcast, just for the audience to know, is a major Dodger fan. So he's got a lot of opinions on this subject that we're discussing.
This is for Mr. Dalton himself, Mr. Fernando Tatis, since 2024. He's been hit 6 times in 676 plate appearances. He's been hit 5 times in 78 plate appearances against the Dodgers. I'm just going to leave that there.
So that's the breakdown. 6 total, 5 of them against the Dodgers, all in the Dodger games. That's a problem. I think they're targeting him.
We're hitting him every other series, and it's chin music. We hit Shohei in the lower back, and with the world's gonna end.
You can't hit
Tatis
Shohei
in the upper head area. Oh, well, there's this one guy comes out. You can't hit Shohei. Mr. Robert
Watch
Suarez
me.
said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, he said, "Watch me."
How's 100 to the back on a 3-0 count?
You know he's gonna walk anyways.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well just why waste a pitch?
Dart him.
Just plunk him.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's good.
That's baseball. Yeah, we'll see the Dodgers in the postseason this year. We'll see them. We'll see you boys
As
later.
usual. Yep.
Well, Mr. Capri, that's been a pleasure, as always, chopping
Yes.
up on sports business on the Constant Sports Podcast. I think we touched all our bases, covered them all today, so appreciate you coming on, and we'll do this again soon.
Yes, glad to be on.
Oh, my man. Take it easy.